Election headquarters. Here is This Week in Louisiana Politics.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm Fred Childers. Thank you so much for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. Wow, we have a jam-packed show full of political news, so let's get started. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy making a campaign announcement in Jefferson Parish on Friday. It comes after weeks of the incumbent seeing a few of his outspoken MAGA critics enter the race, determined to try to replace the well-funded Republican. Michelle Masson was there and has the latest.
Cassidy and his supporters rallied here at Drago's, talking about his commitment to the people of Louisiana.
Local leaders and people he's helped spoke on behalf of Cassidy and their excitement in his seeking re-election. He's seeking a third term for the 2026 U.S. Senate election in Louisiana. He was first elected in 2014, then again in 2020. The other known GOP U.S. Senate candidates are John Fleming, Blake Miguez, Eric Skrmetta, and Sammy Wyatt. Cassidy is facing some challenges from within the Republican Party because he voted to convict President Trump during his second impeachment trial in 2021, but has since worked with the president on the Halt Fentanyl Act.
But one fentanyl death is too many, and law enforcement needed more tools. So I've been working on a bill called the Halt Fentanyl Act. This will be the most important legislation we sign. We sign.
Cassidy also recently made a speech on the U.S. Senate floor talking about the urgent need for affordable flood insurance for Louisianians. In Metairie, Michelle Masson, Louisiana First News.
Well, Attorney General Liz Murrill, along with 15 other state AGs, is urging Congress to crack down on states that allow abortion pills to be mailed. The AG has joined fellow attorneys general in sending a letter to Congress urging lawmakers there to pass laws that preempt pro-abortion state laws, shielding those who ship abortion drugs to states like Louisiana. You might recall the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022 allowed states to determine whether abortion is legal or not. Murrill said, quote, "Every time someone mails abortion pills to Louisiana, it's a state and federal crime. If the FDA won't act, Congress must." The new hands-free cell phone use law while driving went into effect on Friday. Lafayette police explained to locals how this new law could keep roadways safe and what will be included.
The new cell phone usage law while driving goes into effect August 1st. The driver will be issued a warning. Lafayette police explained January 1st, officers will issue citations.
It's just to keep everybody on the roadway safe.
Sergeant Green agrees. An easy way to remember the new rule: drive with nothing in your hands.
Use your Bluetooth, and if you have to use your speakerphone, which that is fine, but the phone cannot be in your hands. You can use phone holders inside of your vehicle, but not in your hand.
According to the new law, a driver is prohibited from holding a wireless communications device to make calls, text, post, take pictures, or browse the web, and that's just to name a few. Louisiana State Trooper Peggy Bork reminds us hands-free phone usage while driving applies to the highway as well.
You're going faster on a highway. I mean, highways are between 55 and 75 miles an hour, usually. And you're going that fast and you're not realizing when you look down at your phone for 5 seconds, even if it's like a quick glance, you've already traveled the length of a football field.
The fine is $100, reducible through community hours.
Don't want to ever have that thought, that what if thought. What if I were paying attention and I would have had that extra couple seconds to react? Maybe I wouldn't have hit that person, or maybe I wouldn't have overcorrected and caused that crash.
Up in Bossier Parish, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson came back to make many stops in North Louisiana to speak with community leaders and business owners in the area of Louisiana he represents up in Congress. Johnson also expressed his gratitude and thanked his constituents for their support.
But it was good to come here and be back in Bossier and be with all the folks who've been with us from the very beginning, and very encouraging. Many of these folks have been praying that we'd have stamina and wisdom and all of that on this crazy journey we're on. And
Johnson also provided updates on what's going on in Washington and discussed the big, beautiful bill. And from a different perspective, Democratic Congressman Cleo Fields spoke to the community about how the big, beautiful bill could impact people in Louisiana. Brianna Moore was there and tells us what Fields and another national leader had to say about it.
I really do not see how it is beautiful for Louisiana because of the impact it's going to have on the people of Louisiana.
Congressman Cleo Fields spoke out Monday, criticizing a new federal bill he says favors the wealthy with tax breaks while slashing over $1 trillion from health care, potentially leaving millions without coverage. He also raised concerns about a $1.1 billion cut targeting public broadcasting.
Rural parishes in the 6th District, and many of them depend on public broadcasting as their only source of information during a time of storm and natural disasters.
Congressman Fields outlined 3 new proposals: teacher loan forgiveness for those serving 8 years in Louisiana public schools, universal early childhood education starting at age 2, and a bill allowing SNAP recipients to use benefits for grocery delivery in food deserts.
It's not as controversial as it may sound because I think we all want people to have healthy foods.
We also spoke with U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, who says the bill will benefit Louisiana workers, students, patients, and seniors.
We help those on Medicaid by strengthening the program and ensuring that those on it receive the care that they need. For the senior citizens, for most seniors, we cut taxes on Social Security. We also included a $50 billion rural hospital fund to protect access to care in rural areas.
Senator Cassidy added that he, President Trump, and fellow Republicans share the same goal.
Work together to secure these wins for people in Louisiana, and there's more to come.
Reporting, Brianna Moore, Louisiana First News.
Now, Fields says he does not think his universal early childhood education bill will pass this year. Now, Fields is a Democrat, and Republican Clay Higgins, they both are U.S. representatives, and they have introduced an amendment to a conservation act that promises to help the crawfish industry, especially here in Louisiana. The bill would expand fishery disaster relief programs to include wild-caught crawfish. Higgins says wild-caught crawfish have never been included because it's a unique product, and it didn't fit the guidelines that have been long established in Congress. Now, both congressmen hope to create a change there.
It's bigger than just helping a wild-caught crawfisherman. It's recognized the uniqueness and special position that every American family and every American industry represents that makes our country strong and great.
Okay, moving on. Why Louisiana dissolved the Independent Party and what independents need to know for the next election. My conversation with Secretary of State Nancy Landry is next. Stay with us.
This is your local election headquarters.
While voters use the term independent to mean unaffiliated, many of the 150,000 voters who are listed as such do not realize that they are members of a party, the Independent Party.
Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. That's Secretary of State Nancy Landry at the regular legislative session in support of what became Act 84, a piece of legislation by Representative Beth Billings that dissolves the Independent Party in Louisiana. It passed with very little opposition and went into effect on Friday. Louisiana's Secretary of State Nancy Landry joins us now. Madam Secretary, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
Well, you've becoming a frequent guest on this show, and I believe that's a testament to how many changes we're seeing coming out of the Secretary of State's office. But let's focus in on this one change here. So why was it necessary to dissolve the Independent Party in Louisiana?
Well, as you might know, the legislature made the decision to move us to a closed party primary system for certain races, and that law takes effect in 2026. And in the with that big change, Democrats can only vote in the Democratic primary, Republicans can only vote in the Republican primary, and no party voters or unaffiliated voters can vote in either primary. But we also had this other category called independent voters who are actually members of the independent party, even though many of them did not know that they were actually members of a party called the Independent Party. And this was going to create confusion among voters when they came to vote in the new closed party primary system. And so this bill just took the 150,000 independent voters and move them into no party status so that they can participate in the closed party primaries in 2026.
Okay, so let's get some clarification just so that the voters know exactly what's going on here. If you're an independent, you were a member of the independent party, and you were not going to be able to vote in the closed primaries coming up.
Correct. Only Republicans. The Republicans can only vote in the Republican Party primary. Democrats can only vote in the Democratic Party primary. And unaffiliated or no party voters can choose which one to vote in. But if you were a member of the Independent Party, you couldn't vote in either one because you were actually a member of a different party. And that didn't allow for you to vote in either one. And so this was, we could tell, confusing to voters. And so this bill, we supported this bill that Representative Billings carried because we think it's going to alleviate voter confusion.
So if you're an independent in Louisiana now, you are considered no party and you can vote in the primary.
That is correct. And that just brings us back to a prohibition we previously had in the law for many years. It was against the law in Louisiana to name a party in the Independent Party. And the reason that prohibition was in the law is exactly because of this kind of confusion that it causes. And other states also ban the use of confusing names for parties, or and a couple of them also ban specifically the name independent for the naming a party. And so the legislature, I believe in 2014, decided to do away with that prohibition and allow the Independent Party to become a party in Louisiana. And this bill just reinstated that prohibition because it turned out to actually cause confusion, and we just wanted to do away with that.
Do independent voters need to do anything? Do they need to make a change or anything, or contact your office?
They don't need to do anything. In fact, we will be contacting them to let them know about this change. And we encourage the Independent Party members who are now no party members and every voter in Louisiana to check your party registration at govote.com. That's GEAUX vote.com. Or the Go Vote mobile app, which is a great app. You can check your voter registration on our great app and make sure that you're registered in the party that you would like to be registered in before these closed party primaries take effect in the spring of 2026. And Fred, the only races that will be closed party primary will be the congressional races, the U.S. Senate races, Bessie, PSC, and the state Supreme Court races. Those will be the races that will be closed party primaries.
So none of the House of Representatives, the Senate, the state Senate, none of those will be closed?
Well, they're not up until 2027, so they won't be on the ballot until 2027. And as the law stands right now, they are not closed party primaries.
Yeah. You know, when you were backing this bill and you were in that committee meeting, one of the lawmakers said something about disenfranchising a large block of voters. What's your reaction to that?
It's just the opposite of that. These people would not have, these 150,000 voters would not have been able to vote in these closed party primary races until the general election in the fall. So it actually gives them the opportunity to vote the same as no party voters. And it alleviates the confusion at the same time. And so that they were a little bit confused about the bill that they actually passed in 2024, and didn't realize that they had made a distinction between these two categories of voters.
Yeah, I cover elections, I cover politics, and I have to admit I was a little foggy on those details as well. So I'm sure voters were too.
Yes, and that's why we supported this legislation, and we're grateful to Representative Billings for carrying it, because we think that a lot of voters would have been surprised to find out when they got to their polling location that they would not be able to vote in the closed party primaries. And they would be surprised to find out that they were actually a member of a party called the Independent Party and not simply unaffiliated voters. And so we think that this is good legislation and good policy, and I supported it and I still support it.
Okay, fiscal notes. Was there a cost associated with making this change?
The only cost is to mail notice to the voters to let them know that this change has taken place. And again, there were 150,000 of them. So the cost was something we were able to absorb in our budget.
All right, final question. What is the next election coming up?
October 11th is the next election, the municipal elections, and you can check your ballot again on the Go Vote app. You can check sample ballot and see if there's anything on your ballot.
Okay, and just a reminder, independents do not have to go anywhere and do anything, make any changes. They're
Correct. And none of the closed party primary changes don't take effect until the spring elections. And the independent voters, who will now be no party voters, they don't have to do anything. If they want to affiliate with a party, they can go to the Go Vote mobile app or govote.com and affiliate with whatever party they want to.
All right, great information. Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.